Chapter 241 Hope you don't. One-shot flow. Profound meaning. Destroyed. Shajur-Ching appeared in front of the going giant again, pulled out the flowing fire, and shot down with a cold sword. Thorn. This sword is truly the best in the world. All the people watching nearby felt their bodies were cold, and their souls felt extremely tingling, so they could not help but retreat again and again. And Tezzolo, facing Shajur-Ching who suddenly appeared in front of him, he didn't have time to react to manipulate the going giant. As soon as I saw the chest of the going giant, Shajur-Ching ruthlessly cut a huge hole. Tezzolo, your end is here. This opening instantly connected Shajur-Ching from the outside world and Tezzolo from inside the going giant. Shajur-Ching looked at Tezzolo. He grinned into a wicked smile. Hey! After finishing speaking, Shajur-Ching disappeared in front of Tezzolo, and then Tezzolo felt that a huge sense of crisis came suddenly in front of him. He didn't even think about it. Almost instinctively, he would use the going restraint to stop Shajur-Ching. It's just, how could Shajur-Ching let him succeed? Overlord. Mental shock. Even if Shajur-Ching stared, Conqueror Haki mixed with the power of Sharingan's mental shock, and rolled the air, which severely affected Tezzolo's body, causing his movements to stagnate. And it is this pause that determines the winner or loser. Boom. Shajur-Ching grabbed Tezzolo's head and pressed it on the ground, causing the latter to spurt another mouthful of blood. How, Tezzolo, can you talk to me now? Shajur-Ching had thunder and lightning in his hand, but it stagnated in his palm and never spread to Tezzolo's body. But Tezzolo knew very well that as long as he did anything wrong, the manic thunder and lightning would instantly let him know the pain. In the past year, your strength doesn't seem to have grown much. It's just a little bit stronger than when I first saw you. Why, after having a good relationship with Tenryubito, after the business has grown, has you been so complacent? Shajur-Ching looked at Tezzolo jokingly, his left hand hovered above his chest, exuding a hairy sharpness. Don't you know this sentence? You need to be hard to strike iron. In this world, no matter how big your business is and how good your relationship with the world's nobles is, if you don't have the corresponding strength to support you, everything you have is just a castle in the air. Hearing this, Tezzolo suddenly laughed. As expected of the captain, I didn't expect that in just a year, I'm no longer your opponent. Okay, I'm done. I'm willing to accept your punishment, and I'm willing to return to the Summer Chamber of Commerce. This guy Tezzolo is really decisive in admitting counsel. He, as expected of a businessman, he only chooses the most beneficial choice for himself. Okay, since you already know what was wrong and are willing to return, I will not pursue the matter of your private departure. However, if you dare to do such a thing again in the future, trust me, at that time, I will not even give you a chance to argue. At that time, I hope you will not regret it until you die. Hearing Shajur-Ching's icy words, Tezzolo couldn't help shivering. He knew that Shajur-Ching was not joking. He really does it. Chapter 242 Resolutely admit it. He forced a smile and promised, Don't worry, Captain, I will never do this kind of thing again. If I do it again, the sky will be struck by thunder and I will be impoverished forever. Listen to Tezzolo's oath. Shajur-Ching smiled again, and let go of him. I hope you can keep your promise forever, and don't let you and I meet again in arms. Otherwise, I will have to take off your head and give an explanation to the brothers in the entire Chamber of Commerce. These words are full of pride, confidence, and indifference. Tezzolo only felt a chill from his heart, which made him shudder again. I don't know what you're going to do with an industry as big as Going City. Without waiting for Tezzolo to breathe a sigh of relief, Shajur-Ching suddenly asked. It's just a ship and accessories. It's optional. If the captain doesn't like it, then give it up. Tezzolo said with a look of indifference on his face, but as for whether he really thinks so in his heart, I don't know. What a pity to give up. Let's keep it, but from now on, we can't carry out this kind of malicious fraud and annexation of other people's money. A place of entertainment is reasonable if it exists, and it is also a way to make a lot of money. On the summer solstice, I don't believe that Tezzolo would be willing to give up such a priceless going city ship. Just this one ship, I am afraid it will be worth billions. Not to mention the amazing benefits that the buildings on that ship can bring. Captain is wise. Hearing that Shajur-Ching did not intend to attack Going City and ban it, Tezzolo could not help but breathe a sigh of relief. You don't have to rush to thank me first. Some of your illegal underground activities may not be able to continue. Drugs, abduction of slaves, and other things that can easily lead to the demise of a force, just cancel it. Arms, intelligence, assassination can be retained, understand. Also, this Going City is still up to you to continue to manage. But at the same time, I will also arrange for some other people to assist you in your management. You should understand the reasons for this without me having to say more. Those subordinates of yours, some of them are used for my use. I am very short of subordinates now. After listening to Shajur-Ching's words, Tezzolo's face became a little bit unsightly. Is this a bit too much, Captain? Without them, I'm afraid my Going City will not be able to function. Sending so many of his people out, and arranging so many people in Shajur-Ching to come in, wouldn't that make him slowly empty? If you think it's unreasonable, you don't have to accept it. Of course, your Going City ship is used as another branch of the Summer Chamber of Commerce, so don't run any other activities like entertainment venues. Shajur-Ching cast a glance at Tezzolo and said in an understatement. Does this have to be done? Captain, are you not afraid that I will tear my face and let the world government handle this matter? What is the difference between not operating entertainment venues and the like, and cutting off his fortune? Choose one of the two, that's the only way. It's also a kind of tempering for you. Shajur-Ching put his hands in his sleeves, and the smile on his face was very warm, but Tezzolo clearly felt the murderous intention from Shajur-Ching's face. Chapter 243. You are a smart man. You have to be clear. Whitebeard is standing behind me now. The world government can bring me down, but can you withstand Whitebeard's impact? Besides, I still have a grudge against the beast pirates. If they knew you were related to me, do you think they would let you go? Even if you take refuge in Big Mom or the Redhead, you can still get such good treatment, but not necessarily. Shajur-Ching cast a glance at him and said, you have to think about it. There is absolutely no way for you to grasp such a large financial source at Big Mom. And the Redhead, the person who hates the second minister the most, whether he will accept you or not is still a question. Besides, if I spread the word about your relationship with me and your defeat at my hands, do you think those robbers who have coveted your property for a long time can still let you continue to live peacefully? In the whole world, the person who can tolerate you and give you the best treatment is me. Only I can achieve a win-win situation with you. Shajur-Ching threatened unhurriedly. What Tezzolo heard was that his teeth were squeezing sparks, and his fists were constantly bursting with strength. But in the end, Tezzolo couldn't help but sighed in frustration, and said, yes, I know. I accept your suggestion and send some people to other positions. Even if she is extremely reluctant, she can only accept Shajur-Ching's threat. The fact is indeed as Shajur-Ching said, he can indeed use his relationship to suppress Shajur-Ching while he can still speak his identity. However, the consequences of suppressing Shajur-Ching were even more serious. After all, he had no absolute confidence to kill Shajur-Ching. And if he can't kill Shajur-Ching and face him in the future, only the 4 emperors can keep him. As for him, it is very likely that he can only get the blessing of one of the 4 emperors, and the price may be even heavier than now, and he may even be more angry than returning to Shajur-Ching. Tezzolo is not stupid, he can still tell which result is more favorable to him. Returning to Shajur-Ching is the one that maximizes the benefits of all his results. That being the case, it doesn't matter if you feel wronged a little bit. You are a very smart person. Very good, I like smart people like you. Shajur-Ching tapped twice on Tezzolo's shoulder, showing a victorious attitude. And outside, looking at the going giant who was suddenly motionless, everyone couldn't help but fall into speculation. This is what happened when the fight suddenly stopped, and who won? Was it the Thunder Hunter Natsu who was Shichibukai who won, or Tazolo who was once a candidate for Shichibukai? Natsu-sama won't lose. Listening to the heated discussions, Bentham was also a little uncertain. Natsu-sama, I will never lose, Zoro said very firmly. There are many people like Zoro who think that Shajirching will win. However, there are more people who support the victory that Tezolo will win. Just when they were discussing like this, and there was no final result, the going giant suddenly dissipated. Then, Shajirching, who was clean and tidy, and Tezolo, who was injured, landed at the same time. Seeing this scene, it is obvious who has the upper hand. Chapter 244 Only Surrender. As expected, the Thunder Hunter won. I knew it was so. Seeing this scene, someone in the crowd suddenly said this. But neither Shajirching nor Tezoro paid any attention to these onlookers. Are you all right, Lord Tezolo? At this time, a woman with big burgundy waves came out, looked at Tezolo who was so seriously injured, and asked distressed-edly. No problem, no problem. Tezolo replied lightly, and then said to Shajirching very respectfully, Please, Lord Naz. Hearing Tezolo's words, the people around couldn't help being shocked. What did they hear? Tezolo actually called Shajirching an adult. What is the situation? Bentham, Zoro, let's go. Shajirching glanced at the two who were also surprised, and followed Tezolo to the center of the base camp on the ship in Going City. And Tezolo followed closely behind, alongside this burgundy woman, and did not intend to answer the various questions that were immediately posed by the surprised onlookers. Could it be that Tezolo was actually subdued by the Thunder Hunter? Otherwise, why would he call the Thunder Hunter so? After not getting Tezolo's answer, everyone around had such a guess in their hearts at the same time. Hoo-hoo, this is really big news. In some unknown corner, a man dressed as a gentleman who looked like a cockroach suddenly burst out with a weird laugh. Going Emperor Palace. Lord Tezolo, do you really want to surrender to the Thunder Hunter and just abandon us? The burgundy wavy woman looked at Tezolo and asked unwillingly. Yeah, although I'm very unwilling, this is the truth. If we don't submit to that guy, our future situation will be even more difficult. Tezolo sighed, then looked at Shajirching who was walking slowly behind him, and said, Lord Natsu, do you have any instructions to give? Seeing Tezolo being so respectful, Shajirching Vivi nodded and said, probably just follow the changes I told you earlier. As for the rest, see for yourself. This is your function and power as the branch president, and I will send the rest soon. Does the location of Going City need to be moved to the first half of the Great Route? Tezolo asked again. Do you want to move out? Shajirching suddenly asked with a smile on her face after hearing this. Looking at Shajirching's smile, Tezolo's heart suddenly lost his mind, because he couldn't guess Shamuyang's thoughts at all. Tezolo wanted to say that he didn't move out of the New World, but he was afraid that if he said this, if he violated Shamuyang's taboo, it would cause him more trouble. Don't move, the headquarters of our Summer Chamber of Commerce will also move to the New World in the future, and your Going City should exist as a pioneer first. According to local conditions, since your Going City was developed in the New World, you should take root in the New World. At that time, my headquarters construction will also learn from you. As soon as Shajirching said this, Tezolo couldn't help but let out a long breath. I'll leave the rest to you, I'll go first. I hope that when the people I sent arrive, you've changed the pattern here. Shajirching patted Tezolo on the shoulder again, and then left. Chapter 245 Big News. Is this a deadline announcement? What a jerk. Looking at the back of Natsumi Yang's departure, Tezolo said this. The next day. I heard that Going Emperor Tezoro was captured by the Thunder Hunter Natsu. Really? No kidding, this kind of thing happens. This report is false, how is it possible? how could someone like going Emperor Taizoro surrender to the Thunder Hunter, Shichibukai? A newspaper from a news agency swept the entire sea in one day, and the entire sea was boiling because of this newspaper. Marine Headquarters. Thunder Hunter, what does this guy want to do? What is his purpose to expand his strength so rapidly? At this moment, looking at the contents of this newspaper, even Sengoku couldn't help but fall into contemplation, guessing Shajirching's purpose. No way, Shajirching is expanding too fast. To put it bluntly, he may not be as deep as Heavenly Yaksha Don Quixote. Doflamingo now. But in terms of strength, it has already surpassed the Don Quixote family, and it is no exaggeration to call it the strongest force among Shichibukai. Such a powerful force is enough to turmoil the world's situation. After all, Shajirching also has a trading relationship with Whitebeard, and this influence is not trivial. Cool, this kid can really win over his subordinates. Whitebeard looked at the newspaper with nothing but pride on his face. Dad, the person Shajirching rescued at sea that day is Roger's son. Marco sitting on the mast suddenly asked. Cool, you noticed it one step later than he did, Marco. Whitebeard's words have already answered Marco's question in disguise. Sure enough, Marco nodded clearly, and put down the ace's bounty in his hand. In other parts of the sea, the influence of the content of this newspaper is completely different. Some people are surprised, some people are afraid, and some people are very much looking forward to it. Then what will you do next? Are you planning to challenge the four emperors directly? Above this sea, there are only matters related to the four emperors, which can be even bigger than the events caused by Shajirching. After all, whether it is to capture Drought Jack alive, make a deal with Whitebeard, or conquer going Emperor Taizoro, it is not very difficult, and it is not something that ordinary people can do. If you want to cause another sensation, you can only challenge the four emperors. And Shajirching, who is on his way back, was also holding this newspaper from the hands of the news agency President Morgans, watching with relish. It's the president of the news agency after all. This wonderful ability to describe words is really appropriate, penetrating 3 points. I think there are more people who are afraid of me in the whole sea now. But I may disappoint you in the next period of time. I shouldn't make any big noise again, unless there is something big trouble coming to my door. There is too much noise, too much, and it is not good for him. As a trainee who has been a trainee on the Whitebeard pirate ship for a year, he naturally understands this point. The next time there will be a commotion, it will probably be when the Summer Chamber of Commerce is mature. Shajirching arrived at Mocktown 2 days later. Along the way, Shajirching also encountered many pirate groups who wanted to join him, but Shajirching rejected them all. Those pirate groups that they brought to their door are either extremely vicious or full of evil, and Shajirching doesn't look down on them at all. The most important reason is because they are too weak. Chapter 218 The world is shocked. The next day, Shajirching, who is rarely at ease, handed over everything to Anna without hesitation, and chose to be the shopkeeper herself. But when he was basking in the sun leisurely and feeling his life, Didier suddenly appeared in front of him. Only listen to the report of Didier Way. Our branch in East Blue was attacked 2 days ago. The material loss was heavy, and there were 3 casualties. Hearing this, Shajirching suddenly became interested and asked, who is the attacker? The people who dare to move our Summer Chamber of Commerce seem to be quite courageous. Hearing this, Didier replied, it seems to be a fish man named Arlong. I heard that he hates human beings very much, and his behavior is cruel and vicious, violent and vicious. After listening to Didier's answer, Shajirching suddenly laughed. It turned out to be this guy Arlong. I mean, who is so daring? It's normal for him. After all, that guy thinks that their fish man is the strongest being in the world. Listening to Shajirching's words, Didier's face quickly flashed a look of surprise, as if she was a little surprised that Shajirching knew the murderer. Then she continued, but when the Chamber of Commerce was attacked, we received another hire from East Blue. The hire fee is 30 million Baileys. Oh, the employment mission from East Blue. The employment fee is as high as 30 million Bailey. I am very curious, which kingdom king is to be assassinated, and the money is so much. How could Shajur-Ching not be surprised? After all, the employment mission of the Great Root, the employment fee of more than 30 million Bailey is very small. Who is the one who hired us? Such a big hatred, willing to spend so much money. Who is his target? Shajur-Ching asked again. The hire is from Kokoyasi village in East Blue, and it's a quest issued by a girl. And her quest goal. Speaking of this, Didia's face was a little weird, and suddenly swallowed. Seeing this, it was Shajur-Ching's turn to be surprised. He looked at Didia and said, "What's the matter? Why didn't you say anything suddenly?" Hearing this, Didia sighed, and then said, "I think you will be surprised when you hear the hiring target of this hireling, Mr. Naz, and even think it is quite a coincidence. An LT, P and GT. Oh, would you be surprised?" Hearing this, Shajur-Ching couldn't help frowning. Then, suddenly, as if he thought of something, he said with a little surprise, "Don't you tell me that the hiring target of the hired person is Arlong." Shajur-Ching just remembered, Kokoyasi village, isn't that the hometown of the genius sailor Shinami? In Kokoyasi village, the only person worth spending so much money on is Arlong. Natsu-sama is really predictable. Yes, the task of hiring people is Arlong. And her name is Nami. Shajur-Ching said it one step ahead of her, and he already had a rather playful smile on his face. Natsu-sama knows this girl named Nami. Hearing that Shajur-Ching directly called out the name of the employer, Didia couldn't help being surprised again. "Ha ha ha, don't know, I just happened to hear her name." When Shajur-Ching heard the words, he couldn't help but hit a ha-ha, and overturned this matter. Then, he stood up and said to Didia, "There is no need to arrange other people for this matter. I will go there in person. This girl named Nami is a talented person and is worth recruiting." Chapter 247. Bless yourself. You actually want to go in person. It seems that this girl named Nami is really capable, otherwise, you won't go in person. Hearing that Shajur-Ching was going to go in person, the smile on Didia's face became interesting, even a little ambiguous. In this regard, Shajur-Ching can only laugh bitterly. Obviously, Didia thinks wrong. East Blue, Kokoyasi village. Will the Summer Chamber of Commerce take me on this task? Will 30 million Bailey feel that it is too little and refuse it? Damn, if I knew, I would have saved more Bailey before posting the mission. If the Summer Chamber of Commerce refuses and Arlong finds out about it, the village will be in danger. A certain girl who likes to eat oranges and has short shoulder-length orange hair, but is very talented in sailing skills, looks at the vast sea with a look of panic on her face. He is the genius navigator in Shajur-Ching's mouth, Nami. Originally, without Shajur-Ching's Summer Chamber of Commerce, Nami would never dare to hire someone to get rid of Arlong. But I can't stand the strong record of the Summer Chamber of Commerce and the strong deterrence brought by Shajur-Ching's identity. Nami, what are you trying to do at the port? Why, do you want to be like Dalton from the Drum Kingdom and hire the Summer Chamber of Commerce to deal with me? At this moment, a fierce voice came from behind Nami, and a tall figure completely enveloped her. When Nami heard this voice, her body couldn't help shaking violently, and a thick panic flashed on her face. She quickly restrained her expression, then turned around to look at this man, with an overly frightened smile on her face, and said, "How could I do such a thing?" This sentence, her voice is completely trembling. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead, and his fingers kept shaking. She is a discerning person and can see that she has a problem. "Nami, your state is very wrong. What's the matter? You are so panicked. You have never been like this on weekdays." Could it be, when the man in front of Nami said this, his eyes suddenly turned cold. His eyes gleamed and he said, "You are really doing something dangerous. For example, hiring people is not good for me. All I saw was a lilac-skinned saw-shark fish man, whose nose was like a sharp saw blade, which could easily pierce a big hole in a human. He is Arlong, the captain of the East Blue Arlong Pirates, the great villain who rules over 20 islands including Kokoyasi village. The bounty is 20 million Bailey, and he is famous for his viciousness and extreme hatred of human beings. At the same time, he is also Nami's mother-killing enemy. No, no way, Lord Arlong. How could I do that kind of thing? Isn't that killing myself? Where do I have the guts? Hearing Arlong's words, Nami's face turned white with fright. Oh, don't have the guts. It's better to let us try. Arlong doesn't believe Nami's words at all. After all, Nami's expression is so abnormal that she clearly tells others that she has a problem. After that, Arlong ordered to the people behind him, "Come on, leave a few people here to patrol and observe the situation, and see if there is nothing abnormal on the sea. As for Nami, just go back with us and wait for news. Also, arrest the mayor of their Kokoyasi village and anyone related to Nami. Nami, you'd better pray that nothing unusual happens on the sea, otherwise, you will understand the consequences." Arlong said with a very cruel smile. After Nami heard it, she stopped in place as if struck by lightning. Her pretty face was extremely pale, and her fingers were constantly shaking. Chapter 248. You are very brave. What's the matter, Nami? You are so panicked. If you don't look like a ghost, I don't think anyone will believe it. When Arlong saw this, he suddenly showed a grim smile, and then said coldly, "Since you intend to harm me, then I have no choice but to apologize to you." He stretched out his palm and grabbed Nami's hair directly, and lifted him up. "Nami, pay for your wrong decision. Gia, your sister, the mayor of your village, and everyone related to you, will all die because of you later. Repent, blame yourself, go to hell and apologize to them because you killed them." After that, the serrated knife in Arlong's hand was about to cut off Nami's head. Don't hurt them, just punish me if you want to, please, don't hurt them." Nami struggled to raise her head, her face full of tears and weeping and pleading. "Ha ha ha, don't hurt them. It's a pity, it's too late." Arlong grabbed Nami's neck, and the knife in his hand turned to pierce her heart. Feeling the coldness on her neck, Nami said in despair, "Is it the end here? Damn it, I'm really not reconciled. Die." Arlong drinks with pride. "You killed her, who am I going to ask for money? Wouldn't the reputation of our summer chamber of commerce be ruined by you like this? Can you afford it, Arlong?" At this moment, a lazy and even a bit mocking voice sounded, making Arlong turn his head to look, and shouted, "Who is it?" "Arlong, you are very courageous. You dare to touch the things of my summer chamber of commerce, and now you are planning to spoil our business. Who else can come here, who can come to Kokoyasi village at this stall, except for Ching, who is so lazy? Thunder Hunter, what do you want?" Seeing Ching, Arlong's whole body suddenly tensed up. Ching felt very dangerous to him. If possible, he didn't want to provoke Ching. He said bitterly in his heart, "How come those guys on patrol haven't heard any news at all? Are they blind? Let's see how I will deal with you later. What do I think? Don't you have any points in your heart?" Hearing Arlong's words, Ching smiled. "You attacked the merchant ship of our summer chamber of commerce 2 days ago. Why, don't you think that this matter can be left alone? Just some useless scraps and some lowly commoners. Does a person of your level want to trouble me because of such trivial matters?" Arlong said in a very arrogant tone, without the slightest feeling of admitting his mistake. "Useless scraps. A lowly commoner. He is really unrepentant." The moment Ching's words fell, he appeared in front of Arlong, and the fire stopped on his neck. "Do you want to die, or compensate me for my losses?" "Asshole." Arlong was held to the neck with a knife was an unknown time ago. The long-standing life of domineering has long made him develop a domineering character of self-reliance, and he cannot stand the slightest threat. Now that Ching used a knife to put a knife around his neck, he was instantly angry. "You're polite, do you really think I'm easy to bully? Then let me see what your strength is." Arlong stepped back suddenly, then threw Nami out, grabbed the serrated sword and slashed away. Chapter 249 Unhappy Retribution. Bang! Shajirching easily blocked Arlong's knife with his knife, then he picked out his ear, and teased, with such a big breath, "Why is the strength so small? Is the kidney deficient? You bastard, stop being arrogant." Arlong immediately held the knife in both hands, his strength increased several times at once, and sparks flew out of his head. But Shajirching didn't feel the slightest bit of difficulty, and even the one who was full of ridicule was about to speak. "Let you know how good I am." Arlong stopped Shajirching from speaking, drew his knife and slashed down again, exuding a strong sharp aura, extremely manic. Bang! 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 Arlong's crazy knife slashes wildly, sparks fly, and it's amazing. Is this the power of Arlong? It's terrifying. Nami, who was watching the battle, was terrified, and every knife Arlong made could kill her. If it was her, she might not be able to catch it with a single knife, and it would be split in half. But Shajirching didn't even move half a step, just moved with the long sword Vivi, and all of Arlong's attacks were blocked. It's like Arlong's violent attack, which can easily split boulders into pieces, is completely ignored by him. "Arlong, you dare to yell at me even with such a little strength, it seems that you have a lot of courage." Shajirching suddenly stopped the blocking action, and Arlong hit the knife at the same time. But the result was completely different. The tall Arlong that I saw was actually shaken out a long distance, and even the big knife in his hand was thrown out. And Shajirching came to Arlong like a stroll in the garden, stretched out her index finger in a catapult motion, and hit Arlong in the chest. PFF'd. Arlong's eyes suddenly bulged, his chest sunk in a big chunk, he spat out a mouthful of blood and flew out. Shajirching dashed forward again, reaching in front of Arlong, sticking out his palm in Arlong's rapidly expanding pupils, grabbing his head, and pressing him into the ground. Wow! The ground exploded, and Arlong cried out in pain. The pit was dyed red with blood. Bastard! Arlong let out an unwilling roar, but Shajirching's palm was as powerful as he was, and he couldn't raise his head at all, so he could only let out an angry voice in vain. Boss! Seeing that Arlong was instantly defeated by Shajirching, Arlong's subordinates got the octopus fish Manhachi, the kissing fish Manajiu and others couldn't help being shocked. Immediately attack and head towards Shajirching to relieve the danger of Arlong. Thunder escape, Chidori flow. Shajirching reduced the power of the current infinitely. He was afraid that if it was a little stronger, Hachi and Ajiu would not be able to bear it and die. But even so, Hachi and Ajiu suddenly let out a scream, and then fell to the ground like this, losing their ability to move. Arlong, do you now choose death or compensation? Shajirching held the flaming fire sword and placed it on Arlong's neck. The cold sharpness made Arlong shiver. No one is not afraid of death, Arlong is even more afraid of death, the overlord of the evil side. But let Arlong apologize to Shajirching, a lowly human in his eyes, how could he be willing? But it was when Arlong was still struggling. Shajirching said again, "Oh, yes, I almost forgot, someone bid 30 million Bailey to buy your head, it seems that you don't need to continue to live anymore." Chapter 250 You have today too, Arlong. Playful, playful. The dignified East Blue is like a toy in Shajirching's hands. His life is completely ignored by Shajirching. Is this the strength of Shichibukai? The gap is really too big. Such a powerful Arlong, he has no resistance at all in his hands, let him take life and death. This 30 million Bailey is really worth it. Looking at Arlong who was pinned to the ground at the moment, but had no ability to struggle at all, Nami couldn't help but slowly clenched her fists, her face was full of happiness. She just wanted to say, "Arlong, you've got today too, but it's really unpleasant." When he bullied others, he had thought about such a day. "Miss Nami, then, what do you want to do with him? He is your captive now, you can do whatever you want with him." Shajurching looked up at Nami not far away and asked. Kill. Nami originally wanted to kill Arlong, but after thinking about it, killing him like this is too cheap for him. Let's leave it to Marine to judge his sins. After thinking for a while, Nami gave such an answer. He didn't kill him, but handed it over to Marine. It's a really good idea. For Nami's decision, Shajurching couldn't help but feel a little surprised. Letting go of hatred is not an easy thing. And after hearing Nami's decision, Arlong couldn't help letting out a long sigh of relief in his heart, feeling quite as if he had saved his life. Give it to Marine, then let Colonel fish him out. But, just when Arlong was thinking like that, Nami spoke again. However, I hope you can personally escort him and send him to Marine. First, don't trust Marine at this Kokoyashi village. Hearing this sentence, Arlong couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. No problem, wrap it on me, I'm sure Marine will thank me. Hearing Nami's request, Shajurching agreed immediately. Do me one more favor if you can, please. Nami looked at Shajurching with a firm look on her face and pleaded. Hearing this, Shajurching couldn't help frowning and said, Tell me, if you can help, I don't mind helping you, if you can't, then there's nothing you can do. Shajurching shrugged, he was very curious, what did Nami want to ask him for help? I want to report Colonel College Mouse for colluding with the pirates, oppressing the people, and doing the wrong thing. It's a heinous crime. Nami gritted her teeth bitterly. How could Kokoyashi village have suffered such a tragic life if it wasn't for the miserable relationship between Colonel Mouse and Arlong? If it weren't for the inaction of Colonel Mouse, how could his adoptive mother Belmere die under Arlong's hands? It is precisely because of the collusion between Colonel Mouse and Arlong, a vicious pirate like them, that this tragedy happened. Now that Arlong has been captured by Shajurching, why should the scourge of Colonel be left behind? Do you keep him and let him continue to harm Kokoyashi village? Hearing Nami's words, Shajurching nodded without thinking and said, No problem, I'll be happy to help you with this. However, doing this has a price, and I don't know if you can afford it. Hearing Shajurching's words, Nami's face immediately showed a hint of worry. A big man like Shajurching must pay a high price. But now, there is no way to quit, she secretly prepares herself mentally. As long as it's not too much, she can accept it all. Even if you sell yourself to Shajurching. Chapter 251 Arlong Pirates, all at once. You don't have to look so worried. The price I need you to pay is not too big, it just depends on how you choose. Seeing the resolute look on Nami's face, Shajurching couldn't help feeling issue. He said, I heard that you are very talented in sailing, so I would like to invite you to join us as our navigator. From now on, you will make nautical maps and routes for us, so that our Chamber of Commerce can conduct better trade. There is a saying that Shajurching did not say. If his identity is exposed in the future, he will be deprived of the title of Shichibukai and become a pirate. Then, she will become a navigator in the Shajurching pirates, formulate a reasonable route, and finally, completely conquer the sea. Am I really capable of being a navigator? When Nami, who is only 16 years old, can't help but look at herself with some doubts when she hears this, she is very unconfident. After all, now she can only draw some simple nautical charts and weather maps, how can she be competent for the position of navigator that Shajurching said? Haha, I haven't thought about it yet. It's okay, you can think about it slowly. When you think about it one day, you can come to me again. Of course, if you promise me, but you feel that your ability is insufficient, I can also take you to a place that specializes in learning sailing knowledge. Nami is an absolute genius in this field of sailing. Shajurching doesn't want to miss it, but she doesn't want to miss it. Yeah, seeing Shajurching talking so well, Nami nodded. Seeing this, Shajurching bounded Arlong, Aju and the others, and headed towards Arlong Park. In addition to the evil, the rest cannot be spared. When Shajurching arrived at Arlong Park, the people here were still carnival, so lively. And at the moment when they saw Sha Ziqing, they even showed grim smiles and said, "Someone has thrown themselves into the net, and since that's the case, then we're welcome." But the result can be imagined. To say such words in front of Sha Ziqing, isn't that courting death? Together, they may not be able to beat Sha Ziqing's finger. Before you say something like this next time, you should see who the target is. Otherwise, you will die without knowing how you died. After killing all the people in Arlong Park, Sha Ziqing took them all away. Then, Sha Ziqing called Marine Marshal Sengoku. This was one of the privileges he got when he became Shichibukai, and he could communicate directly with Marshal Marine. "Mosamoshi, I'm Natsu the Thunder Hunter. Marshal Sengoku, I'm fine." After the call was connected, Sha Ziqing said half-jokingly, "I have something to say, this call is not for you to play." Sengoku in the mood to play with Sha Ziqing, and he directly asked his intentions. "It's not a big deal, just a letter from Kokoyashi village. Reporting the nearby colonel for colluding with the pirates, doing all kinds of evil for the evil village, seriously affected Marine's prestige. Marshal Sengoku, send someone to check, you don't want to see the negative news of Marine appearing on the sea soon. Especially this negative news is still in Garp Vice Admiral's hometown, East Blue." Sha Ziqing knew very well that if he wanted to get the busy Sengoku to take care of a mere East Blue matter and take it seriously, he would need to use some special methods. Chapter 252. Are you going to know the law and break the law? Okay, I see. I will immediately notify the nearby Marine Branch Chief Smoker Pickett, so you are satisfied. Sengoku gave an answer that made Sha Ziqing very satisfied. Okay, as expected of Mr. Sengoku, really efficient. However, the matter is not over. I have a few vicious pirates here that need to be handed over to you. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that these pirates are the people who colluded with Colonel Mouse. And LT, P and GT. Originally, they should be killed now, but the whistleblower said that they must be punished by Marine, and they will spend the rest of their lives in the underwater prison to reflect on themselves forever. So, Marshal Sengoku, you shouldn't let this whistleblower down." Hearing Sha Ziqing's words, Sengoku on the other end of the phone worm was silent for a while. Then, he said again, "I know, then you can hand it over to Smoker and bring it back, and I will give you credit. I hope you will continue to work hard in the future, and don't live up to the rights given to you by the world government. After that, Sengoku hung up. It seems that the negotiation is successful, and I can also deal with others. Sha Ziqing put away the phone bug, and then looted all the treasures of the Arlong pirates. Then, he walked towards Kokoyashi village. He hasn't received the 30 million reward yet, so he doesn't want to go away for nothing. Arlong pirates, you have today too. I didn't expect that you, who were high in the past, will now fall into the world. Nami looked at the Arlong pirates who had been swept away, and showed an extremely complicated expression. You guys have today too, Arlong, this is retribution. The head of Kokoyashi village, Ajien, also said with a happy expression on his face. The people around him were also full of hatred. Although they didn't sneer like Ajien and Nami, they definitely didn't have a good look on Arlong and the others. Marine is already on its way. Everyone, just imprison these people first, and when Marine arrives, their end will come. These treasures were plundered from you, and I still give them back. Sha Ziqing's move naturally instantly won the approval of the villagers of Kokoyashi village. Buying people's hearts, sometimes it's that simple. However, Sha Ziqing noticed. Among the crowd, a few people's expressions suddenly changed when they heard that he was going to hand Arlong to Marine. Then, it disappeared into the crowd, not knowing where to go. It seems that some mice are indispensable everywhere. Hee, it's no wonder that this guy has been able to run rampant here for so long. It seems that there is some truth to it. The corner of Sha Ziqing's mouth moved, revealing a very interesting smile, and said in a low voice, "If that's the case, let me see what kind of surprises these mice can give you." After Xia Zhiqing left a clone to preside over the situation, he released observation hockey and quietly followed behind those who were hidden in the crowd to see if their final destination was the same as he imagined. Marine Division 16. This is a branch of Marine set up in East Blue, in charge of the security affairs of more than 20 villages including Kokoyasi village. And the top manager of this Marine Division 16 is the notorious Colonel Mouse. Chapter 253. What are you doing? He. I didn't expect that a 16-year-old girl from a Kokoyasi village would have such a large fortune. Very good, they are mine from now on. A long and treacherous man with 2 long beards on his face, like a big mouse, twisted his beard and said sinisterly. Just 5 hours ago, Arlong told him that a girl named Nami in Kokoyasi village had a deposit of nearly 30 million baileys and hoped he could find it. Then, they both split. Such a fat pour, of course, the mouse is very happy to execute. After all, who can't live with money? Thinking of this, he immediately set off with someone. He didn't realize it at all, just a few minutes after he left, those few people who were hidden in the crowd in Kokoyasi village and called rats by Xia Zhiqing, rushed over with hurried faces. Then, when he got the mouse and went to Kokoyasi village, he suddenly showed a dead expression on his face. Going to Kokoyasi village at this time, isn't it self-defeating? Xia Zhiqing was waiting for him there. Can he come back now? These people have no heart at all. There was no way. They chased after him again, hoping that their own could catch up with Colonel Mouse and intercept him. But it's a pity that Xia Zhiqing, who has followed him all the way, will not let them do bad things. As a result, the mouse Shengxiao, just like to be caught in the net, came to Kokoyasi village. Why is that guy here again, and what does he want to do? Could it be that he is the one who came to take over Arlong's marine? Kokoyasi village couldn't help but change their expressions when they saw the colonel who came here with arrogance. But they didn't make a sound for the time being, but looked at where is Colonel Mouse's destination. It doesn't matter if you look at it, it's startling. Xiao's destination on the mouse is exactly the direction of Nami's house. This time, the villagers suddenly fry the pot. After all, Arlong and his gang were being held underground in Nami's house. But just when they were about to complain, Xia Zhiqing, who followed Colonel Mouse, stopped them. Although I don't know what medicine is sold in Xia Zhiqing's gourd. However, since Arlong was taken care of by Xia Zhiqing, they also believed that Xia Zhiqing could take out Colonel Mouse. Mouse on Xiao, what are you doing here? When Nami saw the mouse going to the school, she immediately showed a full sense of disgust. I got the news that someone reported that you are hiding stolen money. Come here, search for me carefully, and make sure to search for the stolen money for me. The mouse on Xiao completely ignored the disgust on Nami's face. What is Nami's disgust, where treasure is important? But just as his men were about to dig, a voice suddenly sounded, stopping them. Wait a minute, if I remember correctly, according to Marine's regulations, it is a serious violation of discipline to search the place where civilians live without any evidence. Why? Colonel Mouse intends to know the law and break the law, or bully the civilians and don't understand the law, or does not care whether the interests of the civilians are damaged or not, and does things that are my own. There is a bit of banter in the majesty of this voice. It sounds like a young man. Who dares to be presumptuous here? Hearing the voice suddenly coming from behind, Colonel Mouse immediately turned around to take a look. But he saw a young man with broken hair in a black robe, with a smile at the corner of his mouth, and a long knife with a fire pattern hanging around his waist. Shiren walked over. It was none other than Xia Zhiqing. Chapter 254. You just seek your own blessings. Seeing Xia Zhiqing, Mouse Shengxiao couldn't help shrinking his pupils. Naturally, he knew Xia Zhiqing. It's Shichibukai after all, one of the characters who needs his focus. Thunder Hunter, you don't stay in your own territory. What are you doing here? Is it possible, do you want to intervene in Marine's internal affairs? Leave now, I can pretend that I didn't find it. otherwise, you will regret it later. Marshal Sengoku will never allow any outsider to interfere with Marine's internal affairs. In the end, it is the old fritters and mice who are on Xiao. If it is someone else's words, they may really have concerns and choose to quit. But who is Xia Zhiqing? Can the mouse on Xiao threaten him? Non-existent. Hee, interfering with Marine's internal affairs. No, I have never thought of this, so please don't put a hat on me. I just happened to be passing by here, and I saw someone doing something reckless, so Vivi's righteous words are nothing more than that. Besides, whether Shichibukai can do it or not, it doesn't matter if you go to a branch in a mere faction, but Marshal Sengoku has said it. Xia Zhiqing said with a playful look on his face. Then, before waiting for the mouse to get angry, he said again, however, since you are here, why don't you talk about the dirty things between you and Arlong? This matter should have an end. You should know that there are a lot of Marines in Marine who hate evil and cannot tolerate sand in their eyes. If you let them know what you and Arlong did, I'm afraid they will want to tear you to pieces. Tisk tisk tisk, you shouldn't want to die so miserably. Threat, Xia Zhiqing has done a lot of this kind of thing, he can be more skilled than the mouse. Hearing Xia Zhiqing's words, Colonel Mouse couldn't help but change his face instantly. Then, he suddenly laughed and said, me and Arlong. Hey, I'm a dignified Marine, what are you kidding me? How could I have anything to do with Arlong's vicious pirates? Stop slandering me here. Do you still want to be stubborn now? Oh, well, let's wait with us, and wait for the commission sent by your Marine to deal with this matter. What do you mean? What is meant by an imperial envoy from the Marine faction, could it be? Hearing Xia Zhiqing's words, Colonel Mouse suddenly had a bad guess. Yes, as you guessed, you Marines have already noticed what you have done, so the imperial envoy is already on his way, and it should be coming soon. Colonel Rat, just ask yourself for more blessings. I hope that when you enter the military prison, you can still be as stubborn as you are now. Oh, that's right. Xia Zhiqing suddenly got close to Colonel Mouse, and the corner of his mouth evoked a wicked arc, and said, the Arlong pirates have been wiped out by me. They have all recruited, and I have reported them all to Marshal Sengoku. If you don't want to die so miserably, when the imperial envoy asks, you should be guilty and make merit. Hearing Xia Zhiqing's words, Colonel Mouse's face suddenly changed, pale and weak, and he almost stumbled to the ground. How could it be? How could Arlong say, no way, it's absolutely impossible. How could Arlong confess to me? Colonel Mouse roared at Xia Zhiqing. Didn't you just say that you have nothing to do with Arlong? Why do you admit it now? Xia Zhiqing looked at Colonel Mouse with a playful face, holding a phone bug in his hand. I recorded all of your performance just now, and it's all evidence. Chapter 255. Come with me all. Bastard, you dare to lie to me and threaten me, Thunder Hunter, don't give me too much. The mouse Shengxiao roared, and after saying that, he was about to snatch the phone bug in Xia Zhiqing's hands. But the mouse can't even beat Arlong in these 2 times, let alone Xia Zhiqing who can hang Arlong. He was directly grabbed by Xia Zhiqing's neck and picked up, and then threw him heavily on the ground. Seeing this, the subordinates of Mouse Shengxiao immediately pointed their guns at Xia Zhiqing. Xia Zhiqing glanced at them and said, if you don't want your mouse to die, don't move. You can't be held responsible in case of mishaps. Only then did all the Marines see that Xia Zhiqing was holding one, on the hand, which was aimed at the Mouse Shengxiao's head. They didn't dare to move. If something happens to the mouse, their future will be over. The surrounding villagers clapped their hands and applauded when they saw this scene. They have been oppressed by mice innumerable over the years. When they were bullied, they had fantasized countless times, like Xia Zhiqing taught a mouse a good lesson. But unfortunately, they don't have that ability and can only accept reality and fate. And now, Xia Zhiqing helped them achieve it. Damn, Thunder Hunter, don't overdo it for me. If you do something to me, who is a member of the Marine branch, you'd better figure out the consequences for me. Mouse Shangxiao is still trying to threaten Xia Zhiqing. HMPH, that's all you need to do. You'd better enjoy your last little bit of freedom, because you're about to be judged. Xia Zhiqing grinned Isho, completely ignoring the threat of the mouse getting on the Xiao. What is the threat of Xiao on the mouse? Does he need to care? But I'm embarrassed. You want to take all the things that others have worked so hard to get. You really don't feel ashamed. Xia Zhiqing sneered, and let the mouse Shangxiao clench his fists, but he didn't dare to move, for fear of being shot in the head by Xia Zhiqing. And just like that, they deadlocked. But within 3 hours, the stalemate was broken. On the sea, a huge warship is driving. It's finally here. Seeing that warship, Xia Zhiqing suddenly showed a smile. And when the mouse got on Xiao, when he saw the people on the warship, he suddenly showed a look of grey defeat. White Hunter Smoker, why him? If there is anyone in this East Blue that you don't want to see on a mouse, it is undoubtedly the smoker. This guy belongs to the existence of Xia Zhiqing, who can't rub sand in his mouth. Let him deal with this matter. I am afraid that it will be difficult for him to be kind. What's more, in this Kokoyasi village, there are so many witnesses who have witnessed his crime, not to mention that Xia Zhiqing, who is in the way, is here. Colonel Mouse feels that the situation is too bad. After a while, the smoker warship docked, and he came over majestically with 2 cigars in his mouth. Thunder Hunter, leave this guy to me. Smoker didn't show any kindness to Xia Zhiqing at all, so he took the mouse Colonel from Xia Zhiqing's hands. Then, he turned his face to the people present, including Nami and others, and said, "Are you witnesses? If that's the case, then come with me, Thunder Hunter, you too, come with me." Domineering, there is absolutely no room for rejection. Chapter 256. Are you really wronged? It's really domineering and doesn't give people a chance to refuse. Xia Zhiqing sighed with sincerity. Smoker gave Xia Zhiqing a cold look and said, "This is also your Shichibukai's obligation to cooperate with our Marine's work when necessary. Since you got here before us, you must know the situation better than us. If you don't go, what if you miss any clues?" There's nothing wrong with Smoker's words. Okay, I work with you. What else can Xia Zhiqing do? She can only cooperate, beautifully. An open square in Kokoyasi village. When Smoker and the others arrived, the place was surrounded by villagers from Kokoyasi village. They can't miss out on such a delightful event on the trial of mice. Colonel, talk about it. Why do you want to collude with Arlong? It is a disaster for the village, especially in this Kokoyasi village. Do you want to ruin our Marine's reputation? Tell you, if that's the case, I'll never let you go. Smoker came up. He asked as if you were already a sinner. Although Xia Zhiqing really wanted to complain about his style of doing things, as soon as he came up, he carried out the interrogation work with the tone of the suspect as a sinner, which was a very incompetent performance. But there is no doubt that this set is quite suitable for a heinous person like Colonel Mouse. I didn't. I'm wronged, Colonel Smoker. Don't listen to their nonsense. How can you believe the words of someone like Thunder Hunter? Colonel Mouse shouted injustice. Hee, you can't believe what he says, but you can believe what I say, and everyone in our Kokoyasi village can believe it. Colonel. At this time, Nami's incomparably cold voice suddenly came, which made people shudder violently. You. Colonel Mouse looked at Nami, showing a deep look of anger. You can think about the consequences before you speak. The guilt of slandering Marine is not something you can afford. Colonel made a threatening voice, trying to make Nami throw the rat's arms and not say those unfavorable words to him. Slander. Hee, what did you do in our Kokoyasi village, don't you know? Nami sneered when she heard the words, her face full of hatred. Then, he looked at Smoker again and said, Lord Marine, it doesn't matter if he doesn't speak, you can go to his branch to investigate. The money that he has colluded with Arlong for these years will not be transferred so quickly. If I remember correctly, I saw it when I was forced to draw a nautical chart for the Arlong pirates. After he made a deal with Arlong, Arlong would record it with a bill. Go search now and you should get those very complete bills. Of course, it's not enough to just listen to our Kokoyashi village for his crimes. You can also go to other villages under his rule and ask to see if it's the same as what we said. He colluded with the Arlong pirates to be the evil one. Nami's words were taught to her by Shajirching, because what she said is more credible. After all, she is one of the parties. Colonel Mouse, you say that you were wronged. It seems that your name is not true. Smoker looked at the sweaty Colonel and showed a mocking smile as well. Then, he winked at his subordinates, and 3 waves of people dispersed. Chapter 257 You Are Dead. A wave signaled Nami to lead the way to collect evidence. The other 2 waves went to sea, one team went to other villages, and the other team went to the branch to investigate the funding issue. Watching this scene, Colonel College Mouse slumped on the ground. These 3 waves of people, any one wave is enough for him to be sent to the underwater prison. If it was confirmed that he came together, he should have to spend the rest of his life in prison. Seeing this scene, as long as Smoker is not blind, he should know what the situation is. He immediately ordered the Colonial Mouse to be controlled, and then waited for his men to come back. Then, he looked at Shajirching and asked, Thunder Hunter, why is your dignified Shichibukai here? Don't tell me, you just happened to be passing by. Smoker can't believe this kind of nonsense. Our Summer Chamber of Commerce received a job offer from Kokoyashi village, so here I am. Shajirching said calmly. Oh, that means, the Arlong pirates have been taken over by you. Hearing Smoker's words, Shajirching smiled. Then, he stared at Smoker and said, Then why don't you think you came here all of a sudden, but I reported this to you Marshal Sengoku. If you have nothing to do, I will leave, and I have no contact with this next thing. Shajirching is about to leave after speaking, but Smoker will let Shajirching leave like this. Impossible. Let's wait until this matter is completely over. Thunder Hunter, since we are witnesses, let's witness the end of this matter together. Well, Smoker said so, what else can Shajirching do, but stay? Not long after, Marine, who went to the Arlong pirates to search, returned. Smoker glanced at them with a questioning look, and the latter nodded. Then, they handed over a bill, which Smoker took and flipped a page, all descriptions of a big gray deal. Colonel Mouse, how do you explain this? Smoker said with a very bad face. This is a fake account. This must be made by them to frame me. Yes, it must be like this. Colonel Mouse is still complaining, and then he is going to destroy the bill. But Shajirching had already snatched the bill quickly and said, I'm still going to be tough and want to destroy the evidence. Do you think it's that simple? With such solid evidence, it would be a bit too pale to want to deny it. Smoker closed his eyes and waited. Another 5 hours have passed, and Colonel Mouse is on pins and needles. Marine, who went to the Rat Campus branch, is back. And they brought back a bunch of boxes. Colonel Smoker found 50 large boxes in Colonel Mouse's room and branch, which contained various Baileys, treasures, non-marine military expenses, you see. The report behind Marine didn't say it, but the consequences are already obvious. To this, Smoker nodded, and then said, Colonel Mouse, this time, I don't want to listen to your excuse, let's wait for the last team to come back. But I can tell you right now that you're done. Hearing these words, the mouse Shengxiao immediately slumped on the ground. Then, as if he suddenly thought of something, he pointed at Nami and said, I report that this woman also has stolen money, and it's a huge sum of 30 million Bailey. If you want to arrest her too. Go. Chapter 258 Join Nami. Hearing this, Smoker immediately looked at Nami, who glanced at Smoker and said, Oh, how much money do you know so well? I remember, it seems that only me and Arlong know about this matter. How did you know? You also said that you didn't collude with Arlong, how could he tell you such an important thing? What's more, I stole the money from various pirate groups. When did it become your stolen money? Isn't it a normal thing for pirates to grab pirates? Nami said very confidently, and Smoker couldn't refute this. Another 3 hours later, the last wave of people came back, and they also brought back the various deeds of Shao on the Mouse. Take it away and send it to the judiciary, Fa Island for a good trial. This matter will end here. Smoker got up and gave an order. He signaled his men to take the mouse away. When passing by Nami, Nami looked at Colonel Mouse and said, "You once said that no matter how much you do bad things, you will never be punished. Now, how does it feel to be beaten in the face? Do you regret it?" What a coincidence, Arlong felt that way before he fell. After speaking, Nami smiled, but tears came out of her eyes. Colonel Rat was arrested and the Arlong forces fell, which means that from now on, Kokoyashi village will never be bullied again. His adoptive mother, Belmere, was killed, and it was also avenged. Asshole. Colonel Mouse left only such a roar before being sent to the warship. Thunder Hunter, you can leave now. I hope to see you next time. The fate of Colonel Mouse will not be your fate. An LT, P and GT. Before leaving, Smoker said this to Smoker. Don't worry, his fate will never be mine. How could someone as good as me be like him? Shajirching immediately responded. Even if I am caught one day, don't worry, the person in charge of escorting me will not be you. You have no qualifications to escort me now. You are very confident. I hope that will be the case then. Smoker is gone, left with the Arlong pirates and Colonel Mouse. Kokoyashi village let out a long cheer, and the fear and oppression that haunted them were finally eliminated. From then on, they can finally live without worrying about it every day. Many people were so excited that they burst into tears. Looking at this scene, if Shajirching said that he had no emotion, it would be a lie. But it's just a feeling. His original mission was to help Nami kill Arlong. The reason why he also brought down Colonel Mouse was just a request to Nami. Successfully overthrowing Colonel Mouse, Nami can be said to have owed him a big favor. This kind of love, but it's not good. Therefore, just as Shajirching was about to leave the port, Nami suddenly caught up and stopped him. Thunder Hunter, I agree to your request and become your navigator. Today's Nami wants to continue to protect Kokoyashi village and join Shajirching. It will be a very good choice. Okay, will you come with me now, or will I send someone to pick you up in a few days? Shajirching looked at Nami and asked. In a few days, I need a little time to prepare. Next, I will definitely work hard to improve myself and become a qualified navigator. Nami said very firmly. Chapter 259 Eye-Opening. Okay, then I'll wait. I'll send the banner of the Summer Chamber of Commerce in a few days, and from now on, this will be the site of my Summer Chamber of Commerce. After listening to Nami's words, Shajirching also gave a welfare to Nami's peace of mind. With the blessing of summer business, Kokoyashi village will no longer be in danger. It's worth taking a trip in person. With such an excellent navigator as Nami, I can avoid many detours after the Summer Chamber of Commerce. Shajirching was lying on the deck, thinking in her heart. However, I didn't notice that Ace went to sea a year later than in the original. No wonder the burning fruit was also stolen from Eugene the Tiger. In the original book, Ace's burning fruit was picked up by him on a desert island. But now, it was stolen from Eugene the Tyrant Tiger. Since you've come to East Blue, it's really a waste of time not to visit that place. Hey, in 2 years, someone is going to go to sea. The person in Shajirching's mouth is the Straw Hat Luffy. Windmill Town. On this day, a ship with the Golden Sun flag on a black background approached here. And not far from this ship, a pirate ship with a black leopard head and skull flag is docked. Panic screams and the sound of artillery bombardment could be heard faintly on the island. Alula, who is this, so blind, the place where the 4 emperors' red-haired shanks once visited? Why are there still people who come here to loot blindly? Ching got up from the deck, stretched, and then released observation hockey to cover the entire island to see what was going on. Then, a look of surprise flashed across his face, and he disappeared in place in an instant. He saw something very interesting. "I won't let you hurt Big Sister Makino, I'll blow you bastards away." Ching had just entered Windmill Town when he heard a high-pitched shout. "I saw Windmill Town, which has always been very peaceful on weekdays, but now it is in a panic, and a group of pirates are looting here." In front of the pirates, a boy with a straw hat about 14 or 15 years old is fighting to stop the ravages of the pirates. The high-pitched voice that Ching heard was from this little boy. "Rubber pistol." I saw the child's arm suddenly grow old, and then attacked away. There are constantly pirates being blasted out. And behind the straw hat boy, all the old and weak women and children on the island were there, looking at the straw hat boy with panic. "Little devil, actually blocking our way of making money. I am really impatient, you really take yourself as a character." At this moment, a man with a tattoo on his right arm, long silver hair, and a machete on his back came over. The pirates who were besieging the boy the moment before saw the man, and immediately retreated away. Just like what kind of beast this man is, his face is full of panic. "No matter who you are, I will never let you hurt everyone's lives in Windmill Town." The boy looked at the tattooed man solemnly, and shouted solemnly. He also felt a powerful oppression from this man, which was an aura he had never felt before. "If you're not ashamed, then let me see how long you can last under me." The tattooed man didn't talk nonsense at all, he slashed with a knife, and his breath was violent and terrifying. Chapter 260 It's good to know to be afraid. Boom. The boy didn't dare to take the knife hard and dodge away. I saw that man, he actually tore the earth open with a knife. Then, before the boy could react again, the tattooed man suddenly punched out, knocking the boy into the air. Then, after a few steps, he grabbed the boy's neck and threw him to the ground. Wow! The boy immediately spat out a mouthful of blood and let out a scream of pain. The villagers exclaimed, "Luffy, are you all right?" That's right, this Straw Hat Boy is the protagonist of One Piece, King of Pirates, Monkey D. Luffy. To dare to fight against the deputy captain, I am really impatient. I thought he was a powerful devil fruit person, but it turned out to be only half a bucket of water. The pirates who were watching suddenly made a mocking sound, and then they rushed towards the villagers with a smile. "You are not allowed to hurt the villagers, stop me." Seeing this scene, Luffy, who was thrown to the ground, immediately shouted to stop these pirates, but "You're dying yourself now, and you still have no time to take care of others. Little devil, the end of meddling is death." After the tattooed man said that, he slashed Luffy's neck with a knife. Luffy. Seeing this scene, the villagers couldn't help shouting in horror, especially a woman with a turban and dark green hair was the most excited. But it's a pity, she can't protect herself now, she can't save Luffy at all. Bang! Just when the sword was about to cut off Luffy's head, someone helped him block the sword. Dare to move the island where the woman of the fourth emperor is located and hurt the heir chosen by the fourth emperor. I wonder how many heads you have to withstand the four emperors' wrath. A young man holding a sword said in such a leisurely manner. Who is it? Faced with the man who suddenly appeared in front of him and also stopped him, the tattooed man couldn't help drinking. Then he looked towards the young man, wanting to see where the divine was. But when he saw the young man's face clearly, he only felt as if someone had poured a basin of cold water from head to toe, and he felt cold all over. Shichibukai Thunder Hunter, why are you here? Before he could finish speaking, the young man, Ching, interrupted him. You can come here, why can't I come here? By the way, are you serious about robbing Windmill Town? Don't you know that this is the island where the women of the four emperors live? Do you think your own strength and wealth can withstand the wrath of the four emperors? Hearing Ching's words, the tattooed man couldn't help swallowing, and said in a daze, 4 emperors. How could this East Blue have anything to do with the 4 emperors? Which 4 emperors? Whitebeard, or Kaido, or red-haired Shanks? This tattooed man has absolutely no idea which 4 emperors this windmill town is related to. He has dominated East Blue for so long, but he has never heard anyone say that finding a place like Windmill Town has something to do with the 4 emperors. He even suspected that Shajirching was lying to him. Seeing this, Shajirching shook his head helplessly and said, "You don't even know this, so you dare to rob this place? You are really a stunned young man. I'm really afraid that you won't know how to die then. You think this place is so rich, why didn't all the pirates in East Blue come here to loot? It's not because they know that they can't afford this Windmill Town.